Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We've got another pre-season preview coming your way today, and it's the Brisbane Lions. As we continue working our way through the AFL alphabetically, we're bringing you a little video on every single club, looking at their last few seasons, their depth chart, their best 23s, a look at their fixture, what we think of their chances in 2026. That's all to come in this episode. As I said, this is Brisbane Lions. Adelaide's already up on the channel. Carlton, Collingwood, Essendon coming out later this week, and we continue all the way through the month of February. We'll have every single club out. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. Hit the noti bell. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of Brisbane's chances in 2026. If you have any thoughts on anything else in this video, make sure you leave them as well in the comments. Like the video if you enjoy it. Share it with your friends. All of that sort of stuff. We've got plenty of content to get through. Probably 20-25 minute video. Let's jump into it and we'll go from there. So obviously everybody knows how Brisbane went last year. Back-to-back premiers. Finished the home and away season in third place on the ladder. Throughout this home and away season, ended up winning the premiership, as we all know, after losing the qualifying final. They did it the hard way through the semi, the prelim, and then winning the grand final. Ended up playing 27 games, 19 wins, 7 losses, and a draw. Averaged 91 points per game for, which was the 6th highest amount of points per game in the AFL, and 78.1 points against, which once again was the 6th best in the AFL. So not the best points differential by any stretch of the imagination, but the last two seasons, I mean, they finished third in the home and away season last year. They finished, I think, 5th the year before. But it doesn't matter where you finish home and away season. All that matters is where you finish at the end of finals. In the last 2 years, they have gone all the way. It's hard to see them not doing that again. Like they on paper, they look like the best team going into 2026. I think that's fair to say. I think most people probably think that they're the team to beat at the moment. They certainly haven't lost too much. They've lost a couple players, but not too much. And they've gained some depth as well, some good young players, as well as a couple senior players that should slot straight into their team. So they're in a very fascinating spot going into 2026, and you have to say they're favourites at the moment right now to go all the way for the third year in a row. This is their last 5 seasons. Obviously, we mentioned their last 2, finishing third last year, 5th the year before in the home and away season before going on to win the premiership. The year before, they finished second on the ladder in the home and away season and lost that grand final by less than a kick. So they could already have 3 premierships in a row very easily. So it'd be crazy going for a 4-peat. But nonetheless, they're going for a 3-peat. 2022, they finished 6th in the home and away season, made it to a qualifying final before losing, I think, to Geelong from memory. And 2021, they finished top 4 in the home and away season before getting bundled out in straight sets. So 5 years in a row of quite good success. 3 times finishing the home and away season in the top 4. All 5 years in the top 6. 2 premierships, a runner-up, a 4th and a 5th finish. They're clearly, across the last 5 years, being the best team in the competition. I don't think there's too many arguments there. Geelong's probably number 2, having won a premiership as well as losing in a grand final. They're really, really going fine, and they're only getting better by the looks of things. So things are looking really, really positive for the Brisbane Lions. This is all the changes to the Lions lineup from the end of the last season through to now. They brought in 2 free agents. Oscar Allen from West Coast captain, is a big signing as a key forward. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in, how he plays. But that's a big signing straight up for the Brisbane Lions. And they also get Sam Draper from the Essendon Football Club. I think he's going to miss a little bit, but he comes across as a free agent and will be huge for this team. Obviously, Oscar McInerney has retired. They've still got Darcy Fort, who's a 2-time premiership ruckman, but I think this will be really beneficial for them. In the draft, they got Dan Annable, pick 6. A lot of talk about he was good enough to be in the Brisbane Lions team last season before he was even old enough to play AFL football. So there's high hopes that he'll slot straight into this team. Where he'll fit is who knows. Who knows where he'll fit, but they'll find room for him if he's that good. Kobe Evans, pick 38. They got Cody Curtin at 43. Ty Hayes at pick 44. And Ben Murphy is a Category B rookie. Leaving the Brisbane Lions, they lost Callum Archie. In the end, delisted and goes to Adelaide in the preseason draft. Obviously, he wanted to be traded, and they couldn't find a trade with Adelaide. So Callum Archie just walked out and went to the Crows instead. Darcy Craven was delisted. Devon Robertson was delisted before getting picked up by West Coast. West Coast picked up a few senior player, all middle-aged players from around the competition, and Devon Robertson was one of them. Brandon Ryan delisted. Sam Day and Oscar McInerney both retired at the end of last season. And Brandon Starchevich was traded across the West Coast. He wanted to head over to WA, so he's gone there as well. So that's a list of the ins and outs. There's two main outs, obviously, Archie and Starkovich, both premiership players, one down back and one a bit of a versatile winger / general forward. And they bring in two ready-made senior players in Oscar Allen and Sam Draper, two talls, but they also bring in Dan Annable at pick 6. So I think overall that's a win of an off-season, which is really positive for a team that's just won 2 premierships to at worst break even, but probably improve your team slightly is crazy. And the rest of the competition is going to have their work cut out for them to catch and keep up with this Brisbane Lions team, I think. We'll jump now into our depth chart. So every single club we've done this for. We rate every player every game using the All Aussie Rules rating system. And then we put them into categories. Top 10% of each position is elite. 10 to 25 is top class. 25 to 40 is above average. 40 to 60 is average, and then below that is below average. I think I said that right. Reds did not play last year, and purple, or the pinky purple colour, which is not on the screen at the moment, are rookies. So people that weren't on lists last year, and that's basically the long and the short of it. They're strong across the ground. There's no doubt about it. Their depth chart is really, really strong. General defenders is arguably one of their better positions in 2025 going into 2026. Their midfield's probably the best, let's be honest, but their general defender line is really good. Dane Zorko was ranked number 5 as a general defender last year, rated elite. Look, he's probably getting towards the end of his career. Probably doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of many seasons left. But it looks like they've got players ready to move into that role. So that's going to be very, very handy for them. But at the moment, he's the number 1. Darcy Wilmot, huge. He was ranked 17 last year. We'll see him play a lot of football again this year. And Jasper Fletcher was huge in the grand final. He was also ranked 20. So they've got 3 players as general defenders that were ranked in the top 25% of that position last year. Really good building ground for them. Chucky and Coleman, who hasn't played enough football over either of the last 2 seasons to have a ranking, but he's certainly capable of also being in that top class or above category. His ball use is outstanding. He gets plenty of it when he's out there, so look for Coleman to step up into that as well. Noah Answorth, solid player. Tough position at the moment at Brisbane to get into, but he's very good. Tom Doedee, we haven't seen much of him over the last couple of years. Since going to Brisbane, he obviously left Adelaide a couple of years ago. He's barely got a game. Will this year he get a good crack at it? We'll see. But as I've said, there's a lot of depth in this position for Brisbane, so it's not going to be easy to get into. And Shaddai O'Brien did not play last year. I think he played a couple games 2024, but obviously no rating last year. Their key defence is also very, very strong. They got one of the best in the competition, Harris Andrews, arguably number 1. I've got him number 2 behind Sam Taylor last season. His final series was outstanding. I mean, he's outstanding all season, but his final series was very, very good as well. So he's elite. Chuck in Jack Payne, who's top class rated last year, was really, really good while he was out there. Ryan Lester was rated 37th. He's their 3rd highest rated key defender. And number 4 is Darcy Gardner, who is also capable as of being a top 3 key defender for a team. So I think enough depth there as well. Chuck in 2 players that did not play last year in Joyce and Lloyd. I don't think we'll see much of them yet, just due to the fact that there is so much depth there. The other 4, unless injuries take over, should be enough to get them through, I would say. Moving on to the forward line, and you can see plenty of players here. It's going to be interesting how this kind of shapes up, I guess, and what sort of lineup they go for. Maybe not as high range top talent in their forward line in terms of numbers, but they have absolute game breakers. They have really important players in this forward line. So starting at general forward, Cam Rayner was ranked number 10 as a general forward last year. It helps in the general forward position to be players that rotate through the midfield. They get more opportunity to win some football. So that does help Cam Rayner, there's no doubt about it. But he is that versatile player that can play forward, kick you goals when you need him. He can also go into the midfield. He's a very, very good player. James Tunstall, we have not seen much of him over the last couple of years. He's been very unlucky with injuries. We'll see if he can get on the park this year and get a chance. I think they will give him a crack, but we'll see. Charlie Cameron is next up. He is obviously a game breaker. He was outstanding in the grand final. His best is as good as anybody as a small forward, goal kicking forward. He can kick them from anywhere. He is absolutely outstanding. Kai Lohman, another one that kind of battled injuries for big chunks of last season. I think his 2024 grand final was outstanding. He's clearly in there, probably best 4 as a small forward. So we'll probably see a fair bit of him throughout the year. And I mean, he's shown already that he is very, very talented around the goals. Maybe pushes up the ground a bit more in 2026. We'll see. Connor McKenna, more of a depth player, I would say, at this stage of his career. We probably find it hard to break into the best 23 unless there's injuries, I would say. He'd probably get a few chances here and there, but I wouldn't say too many. Will McLaughlin, young player, got a couple cracks at it last year. Probably needs a couple more years, or a little bit more experience maybe before we fully know how good he's going to be. And there's a few players ahead of him at the moment on this depth chart. Kobe Evans, they obviously drafted this season, so we haven't seen him at AFL level yet. And Lincoln McCarthy's probably the unlucky one at Brisbane, who's spent the last 2 years basically on the injury list. We'll see if he can get back in out on the park this year. Key forwards, Logan Morris is their star player. Obviously still very young, couple seasons into his career. Looks like going to be one of, if not the best key forwards in the competition, I think. He is an absolute gun already, and I would be very surprised if he isn't one of the top 5 key forwards, maybe even this year, but certainly in the next couple years, he's going to be a gun. Oscar Allen's joined the cause from West Coast. I think he'll obviously get more opportunity in Brisbane, as in the ball will be in his area a lot more, which will help him and maybe see his rating rise a bit. Eric Hipwood, he's going to miss a fair chunk of football, but I think once healthy, he will get back into their best 23. As a third key forward, I think that's the ideal role for him. Ty Gallup came into the team for bits late in the season when Hipwood was down and did his role perfectly. I don't think he's ahead of Hipwood yet on the depth chart, in my opinion, but he will get plenty of opportunities early in the season. So maybe, just maybe, he will be able to take that next step and leapfrog Hipwood. Henry Smith, we saw a couple games from him, and he did his role perfectly. So he's another young key forward that could potentially start getting some game time. and Cody Curtin was drafted this year. I don't know if we'll see much of him, but I doubt we will see too much. Midfield. This is a stacked page of talent. There is no doubt about it. Brisbane Lions have that much talent in their midfield. It's not funny. Starting over in the inside midfield category, they have 4 players that would get a game just about at any club. Well, they would get a go at pretty much every club. There are a few really good midfields in the competition, but these 4 are outstanding. Hugh McCluggage had career best year last year. I think was ranked 12th in the AFL in my ratings. 14th was Josh Dunkley, so just behind him. Probably his best season as well. He was great. Lachie Neale, a little bit down on his previous best seasons, but I mean, he's a 2-time Brownlow medalist, and his last quarter and a little bit in the grand final when he came on as the sub was hugely important for Brisbane. So he's a gun. Will Ashcroft, his final series 2 years in a row, has been absolutely fantastic. His rating improved from about a 101 during the home and away season and ran at about a 120 something in the finals. So he is an absolute gun, Will Ashcroft. And I think he'll probably jump Lachie Neale and Josh Dunkley this season and be either 1 or 2 midfielder for them. Dan Annable, we mentioned before, drafted this year, pick 6 in the draft. They matched I can't remember who tried to get him, maybe Richmond. But he, from all reports, is ready to go in AFL level. I think we'll see him get plenty of game time throughout this season. But it is a position, midfield, inside and out, that is stacked full of players. So there's not a heap of room for him, but I think he'll definitely find his way into the best 23 at some point. Luke Becken, he's unranked, barely, didn't even get a full game last year. I think played maybe 1 game of less than 50% game time. Ty Hayes, pick 44 in the draft last year. I don't think we'll see too much of him, mainly because of the depth of this Brisbane Lions lineup. If he was at another club, potentially could be getting some game time at some point this year. Outside midfielders, another position that they're really strong. Zach Bailey and Jared Berry. Outstanding seasons last year. Zach Bailey was huge in the prelim final for them. Jared Berry's huge for them every week. Ranked 2nd and 3rd as outside mids in the competition. They can get inside and get you the clearances. They can play outside. They can play forward. They're just very versatile players and are very successful at what they do. The next bunch are all capable of being in the best 23. There's no doubt about that. Levi Ashcroft pretty much played every game last season. If he didn't, he was very, very close to playing them all. Was very, very good as a first-year player. He will move into an inside mid role at some point, like a full-time inside mid role. It's just a matter of when. But at the moment, they've just got so many players that need that role. In my opinion, McCluggage, Dunkley, Neale, both Ashcrofts, and Zach Bailey probably all should be inside mids, but you can't have that many playing that role. So it's an interesting kind of position they're in. Bruce Revel is a made wingman. He does it so well. He's only played, I don't know exactly how many, probably 20-odd games now across the last couple of seasons. I think we'll see another big spike in his performance this year. Sam Marshall, he played his role really well when needed. Towards the end of the season, he's kind of that, I don't know where to put him. He's in that lower, probably 3 or 4 players on their best 23 last season. But he came in, did what he needed to when he needed to, and played some pretty good football. Reece Torrent obviously did not play last year. The Rucks, they get a new ruckman. Sam Draper obviously joins the cause. He'll be their number 1 ruckman once he's fit. I don't think there's any arguments there. I would imagine Darcy Fort continues to play. He's a 2-time premiership ruckman now. I would say he'll be more the bench ruck. Now that there's 5 on the bench, I think he gets games still. He'll certainly get his chance early season until Sam Draper is fit. I think by reports, Sam Draper's probably missing half the season at least. And Zane Zakostelski, a depth player at the moment. I don't think he's ready, but at the moment they don't particularly need him. They just need to keep developing him in case they need him in future seasons. Well, now we'll move into the best 23 for Brisbane for coming into 2026, according to me. This is probably across the competition the hardest 23 to pick, in my opinion. Um, there's some probably controversial picks that people probably won't agree with. I get it, I understand it, but this is how I've done the 23. Starting with the forward line, I think Logan Morris, Oscar Allen, I think clearly are the top two key forwards for them. Cameron, Lohman, Rayner, all definite starters. Tunstall's probably the controversial one on this team, I would say. Mainly because he was barely played last year, was emergency throughout the final series, played a lot of VFL. He's getting to that age where it's probably his last crack. If he doesn't make a thing of it this year, then maybe that's his last chance. I guess we'll find out throughout this season. But if it's not him, then you're probably looking at a midfielder going into that position. Which your chances are probably Dan Annable and maybe Sam Marshall, maybe Big Bruce Revel as well. Midfield, I don't think there's too much discussion here. I think Sam Draper, once fit, will clearly be their number one ruck. McCluggage, Will Ashcroft, Josh Dunkley as your midfielders, and then your wing, Berry Bailey. Pretty self-explanatory. Lockie Neal on the bench. Halfbacks, Jasper Fletcher, Dane Zorko, with Jack Payne as a key defender, and then Lester, Andrews, and Wilmot as your fullback line. That back six is as good as pretty much any team in the competition. They're looking really healthy down back. Midfield's looking great. Forward line is young and upcoming, so I think pretty much set across the field. Interchange, as I said, Lockie Neal, Coleman, Darcy Fort, I think, gets a game as that second ruckman. I think Brisbane will probably use that as a play, at least to start the season with 5 on the bench, playing that second ruckman, is how I think they would do it. We'll see if that plays out all season, but that's how I see it at the start at least. Eric Hipwood, once fit, he'll be missing the start of the season as well, I believe. But I think he's still in their best 23. I have him ahead of Ty Gallop at the moment, as I said before when we're doing the depth chart. Whether that stays the whole season, I guess we'll see. But to start with, once he becomes fit, at the moment I would say he would be in their best 23. And Levi Ashcroft is definitely in their best 23. He'll probably play a little bit of half forward, a little bit of wing, a little bit of sometimes on the ball action. It's a tough team to break into. There's not a lot of room. Darcy Gardner, Noah Answorth, Bruce Revel, Sam Marshall, Ty Gallop, Daniel Annable, all unlucky. They're all next in line. A couple of them probably do get a go. Will get games for sure, especially with injuries at times. And it's just a matter of whether they can really take that opportunity, because you probably won't get too many chances in this team because it is so good across the line, across the field. Like, there's probably those 29 players that I mentioned, the 23 on the field right now, and the 6 emergencies, pretty much would get a game at every single other club in the AFL. So make of that what you will, but they are absolutely stacked at the moment, and it's hard to see a world where they're not going to be competitive again this year. That's my opinion on it. Final thing to look at is just a quick look at their fixture for 2026, how it shapes up. They've got 11 games at home, 11 games away, and 1 neutral, which is obviously Gather Round. They play 12 games in Queensland, so the 11 home games plus the game against Gold Coast at People First Stadium. 6 games in Victoria, 2 games in New South Wales, and then they have 1 game down in Tassie, 1 in WA, and 1 in South Australia, which is that Gather Round fixture. Their buys, round 2 and round 15, and their multiple matches against teams. Sydney, who obviously finished 10th last year, Geelong, who they beat in the grand final, Essendon 15th on the ladder, Carlton 11th, Gold Coast 6th, who they beat in the semi-final, and Collingwood 3rd, who they beat in the prelim final. So every team they played in finals, they played twice. Geelong Gold Coast, Collingwood. And then the other three, Sydney are expected to improve. Essendon and Carlton maybe not. So it's not the toughest draw. Using our calculations that we did in an episode of the podcast late last year, analysing the fixture for 2026, we had them as the 11th hardest draw in the AFL based on average rating. That takes into account who you're playing, where you're playing them, and all that sort of stuff. So Brisbane come up 11th there, which is pretty good for the team that won the premiership last year. Obviously, they can't play themselves, who are the number one ranked team, so that does also help. But 11th for them. For context, an average rating would be 1,500. So if you had a dead even rating for opposition rating, it'd be 1,500, and theirs is 1,498. So slightly easier than what would be average. The toughest team is Gold Coast, or the team that's drawn the toughest schedule, I guess, is Gold Coast at a 15-17, and vice versa. The easiest is Port Adelaide with a 14-74. So just a little bit of context there. But if you haven't, go check out that video. It was, I don't know what episode it was. It was probably in October. It was whenever the AFL fixture came out last year. We did a full deep dive into the schedule. We'll be doing more of them leading into the AFL season. But yeah, that's what we had them at then, and that's 11th. So everything points towards them finishing top 4 during the home and away season. Stay fit and healthy in the back half of the year, and they're going to be very, very hard to beat. At the moment, they're definitely my number one pick for the premiership this year. It's hard to see a world where they aren't competitive all the way through September. That's much the long and the short of it. I don't think I've got too much else to say other than if you're a Brisbane supporter, enjoy it because they're flying at the moment. They obviously had a tough few years in the late teens, but right now everything's coming up golden for the Lions, and it's hard to see that finishing this year or probably in the next couple of years at least. So yeah, that's Brisbane Lions. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Brisbane Lions 2026 hopes. Are you as confident as I am? Let me know. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. We're doing these videos for every single club all the way through February. So check them all out. Check out the podcast that goes live on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts every single week. Once the season starts, it'll be 2 times a week. So make sure you check them out. Check out all the socials, all Aussie Rules everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X, Blue Sky. There's probably more. Just type it in, all Aussie Rules. You'll find us. And that's everything I have for you. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next one.